this is Mahmoud Sharif. I am presenting today a red and blue team lab as a task given from Mr. Adam. He asked me to make penetration testing or CTF or graduation project presentation. I choose to make a small lab combining blue team and red team and a victim environment. I thought it is the most idea, or let it be the nearest idea to the vacancy Mr. Adams is offering. This idea is built on virtual machines. Three machines are connected on the same network. Those machines are Kali, Linux, and Windows Server 19 and a Curator. Uh, during during the demonstration, I will show a daily task for a penetration tester and a SOC analyst, and I will show how to install Windows Server, which is system admin task. It is combination between three tasks at the same time. I hope it will be helpful for anyone who would consider it as introduction to the field of security. Thank you. Here we are going to talk about the red and blue team lab. This lab will talk about the activities which red team and blue team achieve and the purpose of each team and the tools each team are going to use during its own activities. Red team are the bad guys, or hopefully they are ethical hackers. Ethical hackers are going to act like an attacker from outside the environment or insider attacker, which trying to detect any vulnerabilities and exploit in our environment. And the blue team is the team who are going to defend against those attacks. Defending is mainly about detecting and stopping the attack. And I'm writing here that the best form of defense is attack. This means that to know what are the vulnerabilities and exploits, you need a red team to do red team activities in your network to highlight any exploits and gaps in your environment. So let's get started. This is our mind map we are going to walk through during our lab. We are going to install Windows Server 19 and we are going to create Active Directory on the server, and we are going through Kali Linux and SIM solution. We are going to use a Curator. This lab are going to be an attacker and a victim user and a SOC analyst. We are going to play the three rules during our lab, and we are going to make an plan as an attacker, and we are going to build a role as an defender. First of all, we are going to prepare a victim environment. This victim will contain a Windows 19. We are going to install Active Directory and install sysmon and wincollect and configuration console to forward logs to the curator. And we are going to create a file to be confidential and will be monitored on the victim machine. Also, we are going to make a plan as an attacker. This plan will be prepare a payload. This payload we will deliver to the victim machine by one way or another. I will show you two ways to deliver an payload to the victim. One of them is to build a simple HTTP server and upload the file. Another way is to use a USB. After that, we are going to have a interpreter shell on the victim machine. Also, we are going to get the hash of the administrator account. The third part, we are going to prepare an curator, a virtual machine, and I will give you a script you will run on the any virtual machine of community edition of curator, and you will be receiving logs from any of your machines, which you can send logs to the curator without any restrictions. And I will give you a tip about solving a common problem in curator virtual machine. And we are going to create rules to detect attacks, and we are going to investigate a real attack.
Okay, now we are creating Windows Server 2019 on a virtual machine. This is a fast review how to create this server on virtual machine. First of all, we are creating an empty um, this machine. We are not giving the ISO to the VM because we don't have the activation key with us. We will choose this option which says I will install an operating system later. Then a few clicks on next. Here you need to specify the destination destination of the machine. I want to put it in, let's in the shared folder. Let's click next and firmware type. Do you need it BIOS or UEFI? And you choose the number of processors and the cores per each processor. And here you choose how many RAMs do you want to give to the virtual machine and the network card type. And few clicks and you will be ready. It is you're going to choose a create new virtual disk because you don't need to use an existing virtual disk or a physical disk. Now your machine is almost ready. You click finish. A new machine is created. Now you need to give it an ISO machine to run the Windows machine from it, and here you specify the source of your Windows machine, which is the ISO image, and you are ready. Here is another tip for Curator Community Editions users. You will need to run this script, the which allows you to receive logs from log sources to your Curator without any limitations in the EPS. You will need to connect SSH to your Curator. Let's use Mobaxter, for example. Here is my password for the master. And let's connect to the Curator. Let's type root exactly. And here is the script. This script allows you to receive EPS without any limitations. I will share this script in the description of the video. You can copy paste this script in the SSH terminal on your curator and you will get a free and unlimited EPS on your curator. Okay, we are going to show now the virtual machine of the attacker, which is the Kali Linux version 2020. Kali Linux is a version of Linux which is designed for attackers and the ethical hackers. It contains a lot of tools which would be useful for the red teaming activity, for example, vulnerability analysis and information gathering and web application analysis. The most famous tool in the web application analysis is Burp Suite, and Nmap is used to scan network. We can um, have a look on Nmap. To use Nmap for scanning an IP, you run the Nmap and -v and we write the IP of the target. Let's scan our Windows machine here. The IP is written here. Now the result for the scanning is ports are open, which is maybe used for attacking this machine later. Okay, what we are going to do now on this machine after having overview about Kali. Now we are going to use a very useful tool which is Metasploit tool. Okay, now we are going to create a payload on the Metasploit to have a Metapredator shell on the victim's machine. We will be managed to push commands on the victim machine, and we can run Metapredator command to make the payload which we are going to use during the attack. This payload is creating using the Metasploit tool. We are going to write the command. Sudo is used to super user privilege, um, and we are going to write the command uh, sf to make the payload Windows better privator reverse underscore TCP and dash A to specify the version of the payload which will be running on 32-bit of the Windows, and we will make the platform Windows, and dash F to specify the format of the payload, and we're gonna specify the local host which will be the Kali Linux ID, and the port which is the local port of Kali Linux will be listening on, which will be let it be 48, and the output of the payload will be desktop. Let's name it gaming.exe, and let's create it Kali Linux password. And now it is creating the payload. It may take some time, only a few seconds, and you will get your payload created on the desktop. Okay, now we are going to make our server to be accessible to the victim to download the payload we created. Now we need to put this file inside a folder named server or whatever you want, and then you go to the terminal and you write cd desktop to go to the directory of desktop, and server to go to the directory of server, and pay attention to the lower and the upper cases because Linux is case sensitive. Okay, we missed the module option, so we write Python 3-m http dot server for the port 8000. Okay, now the server is created with the IP of the Kali Linux machine. This is the IP of the Kali Linux machine. Now, if I went to the Windows machine server and I enter my password, now I will use my browser. On the port 8000, I will get my payload. I will show downloads. Okay, it is asking me if I would run this file or not. I will run it, but after creating the listener on the Kali Linux. So here is the logs for the action we just made on the Windows server. And now we are going to create the listener. Let's create the listener on Metasploit. Sudo. I don't think need sudo. msf console. This command will run the Metasploit framework for you. Okay, great. Set dash okay, reverse with s, I think. Okay, yes. Let's specify our localhost host to our Kali Linux to be 124. The IP of the Kali Linux machine, which is like that, and L set on port, which is 123 point. Yes, the port, sorry, is, let's make it, the port must be as the payload we created, which is gaming.exe, and we have here our, okay, let's exploit. And now the Kali Linux machine is waiting for the victim to open the payload to be connecting to it. Okay, let's run. Hopefully we go to the Kali Linux, and this session now is open between the Kali Linux and the machine. This is great. For example, let's make first thing is to take a screenshot of the machine of the Windows Server 2019. It is saved on Kali home-Kali. Let's go here to check this screenshot. Here is this the file of the screenshot. Yes, it is the same screenshot from the machine. Okay, I think this attack is done correctly. Okay, the last attack we are going to perform on the machine is getting the hash, which we will using Mimikatz. Okay, now let's run the interpreter shell again and run this machine, and let's run the file again, and the session is run again, and we have access. First of all, let's get the user ID. Okay, this is administrator who ran the file, and let's load Mimikatz. Okay, and let's load Kiwi, and let's type the Mimikatz command, which is okay. We have an access denied. Okay, let's try another command, which steals the NTLM administrator. Okay, we got the NTLM hash of the administrator, and this is a successful attack. Now, if we want to shut down the server, we can shut down, and let's go to the server, and we are seeing that the server is shutting down. Okay, let's investigate a real case on the curator. We have here an malicious IP. This IP is attacking our system. Let's see the payload of the event itself. Check. Oh, this is a URL which the attacker is using to drill down into our website, and it is using directory traversal, and he is using an abnormal tool in the attack. It is non-familiar user agent in the web requests. Now we are going to check if the real IP which was trying to directly traverse in our website, if it is reported or not, or it is reported 40 times with confident 100% this is an malicious IP. Let's read more about the reports. It is web scan vulnerability, unauthorized or port sweep. Okay, it looks, oh, here is the same URL used in our environment, so it is a real threat, and we need to block this IP and prevent this IP from attacking our network. Okay,